A U.S. president just landed in Beijing for the first time in nearly 9 years, and he brought Musk, Cook, and the CEO of Nvidia with him. Behind closed doors, deals worth tens of billions are being negotiated. But the real question hanging over this summit isn't soybeans, or Boeing jets, or AI chips. It's a single word that could trigger a clash between two superpowers: Taiwan. On May 13, Trump touched down in Beijing for a 3-day state visit. Red carpet, honor guard, cameras everywhere. It's the first sitting U.S. president to visit China in nearly 9 years. Xi Jinping framed it as a chance to build what he called a constructive China-U.S. relationship of strategic stability. Translation: lower the temperature, cash the checks, and don't blow the world up before the decade is out. Trump didn't fly in alone. He brought a Wall Street and Silicon Valley dream team: Elon Musk of Tesla, Tim Cook of Apple, Larry Fink of BlackRock, Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg, and Nvidia's Jensen Huang. Roughly 16 of America's biggest chief executives, all crammed into one delegation. This isn't just diplomacy. This is the United States walking into China with a checkbook in one hand and an order book in the other. Start with Boeing. The American plane maker hasn't sealed a major Chinese order in nearly a decade. While Boeing was grounded by the 737 MAX problems and pandemic shutdowns, Airbus quietly stole the China market. Now, Boeing is trying to claw back hundreds of jets in a single signing ceremony. If this deal lands, it's billions of dollars and tens of thousands of U.S. factory jobs handed back in one carefully staged handshake. Then there's the soybean play. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said publicly that Washington expects China to commit to double-digit billions worth of agricultural purchases over the next 3 years. That builds on a 25 million metric ton soybean deal from last October. For Midwest farmers who lost the market during the tariff war, this is oxygen. For Trump's political base, it's a headline he can run on in every swing state. But Beijing isn't handing out gifts. China controlled 59% of global rare earth mining and 91% of refining in 2024. Every electric vehicle, every fighter jet, every smartphone runs through Chinese supply chains. So when Trump asks for soybeans, Xi asks for license guarantees. When America wants chips moved into China, China wants chips moved out. This is leverage trading. Dollar for dollar, mineral for mineral. That brings us to Nvidia. Washington just cleared roughly 10 Chinese firms to buy Nvidia's H200, the company's second most powerful AI chip. The most advanced Blackwell chips? Still off limits. Nvidia's chief executive is in Beijing because every quarter of delay costs his company billions. The unspoken trade is simple: more chips flowing into Chinese factories, more rare earths flowing into American factories. Tech is now currency. But all of this, the soybeans, the planes, the chips, sits on top of a fault line: Taiwan. Xi told Trump straight up that Taiwan is, quote, the most important issue in the entire relationship. He didn't hint. He didn't soften. He warned that mishandling it would put the relationship in, quote, great jeopardy, leading to clashes and even open conflict between the two powers. Read that again. The leader of China told the President of the United States on Chinese soil that they could end up in armed conflict over a single island. That's not a diplomatic pleasantry. That's a red line drawn in marble. And it came less than 200 miles from Taipei, where 23 million people watched their fate get debated by two men they didn't elect in a room they'll never enter. Trump's response? Officially, restraint. Secretary of State Marco Rubio came out and said U.S. policy on Taiwan has not changed. He claimed the question of weapon sales to Taipei did not, quote, feature prominently in the discussion. Unofficially, there's a $14 billion arms package to Taiwan sitting in limbo. Taipei watched the summit nervously, hoping nobody bargained away their security in exchange for a soybean order. The phrase Xi and Trump landed on was strategic stability. Beijing has already declared it the guiding framework for the next 3 years. That language matters. It signals neither side wants a hot war right now. Both sides are buying time. China needs time to grow its tech base. America needs time to rebuild manufacturing and replenish weapon stockpiles. Stability is the truce, not peace. and every truce eventually expires. There's a deadline ticking too. The Busan trade truce, the temporary tariff ceasefire negotiated last year, expires this autumn. Without an extension, tariffs snap back, supply chains lurch, and stock markets get crushed within hours. So one quiet goal of this entire visit is brutally simple. Kick the can, extend the truce, avoid the cliff. Let everybody pretend the new Cold War is somehow on pause for a while longer. What does China actually want from this visit? 3 things. First, fewer chokeholds on advanced semiconductors. Second, lower tariffs on electric vehicles and batteries entering the United States. Third, a softer American posture on Taiwan, especially around weapons sales. Xi isn't asking Trump to abandon the island outright. He's asking the United States to stop arming it. That's the real negotiation hidden inside the friendly handshake. What does Trump actually want? A win. He wants signed numbers he can wave from a podium. Boeing jets, soybean tonnage, rare earth licenses, lower fentanyl flow into American cities. A photograph with Xi that quietly says, "I tamed the dragon." For Trump, this trip is less about long-term strategy and more about the scoreboard. Every billion-dollar headline is ammunition for the midterms and the campaigns beyond. For Taiwan, the mood is uneasy. Officials in Taipei said publicly there's, quote, "no surprising message so far." Translation: we're holding our breath. They know the $14 billion arms deal could quietly get postponed. They know one careless line from Trump could rattle the entire strait. A single sentence said in Beijing can move warships across the Pacific within hours. That's the weight on every word. Then there's Iran. The war in the Middle East cast a long shadow over the Beijing summit. Trump wants China to pressure Tehran to stop buying advanced weapons, stop selling oil through sanctioned ports, and step back from supporting proxy militias. China buys massive amounts of Iranian crude every single month. So Washington isn't just bargaining over trade, it's asking Beijing to help defuse an active war. That's a huge ask. Who wins from all this? In the short term, American farmers and Boeing shareholders, Chinese chip buyers and rare earth exporters, Wall Street traders, because stability lifts every major market. Who loses? Taiwan, which sees its bargaining chip status quietly grow. India, which loses manufacturing pivot momentum, and anyone who believed the Cold War II narrative, because this looks a lot more like cold peace 1 inch slow motion. The risk scenario is brutal, though. If Trump announces even one concession on Taiwan, fewer arms sales, softer rhetoric on independence, markets in Taipei tank overnight, Tokyo panics, and the Pacific Alliance system wobbles. If Xi loses face on rare earths or fentanyl, hardliners in Beijing push back hard. Both leaders are walking a tightrope above a very loud, very angry audience watching from back home. Zoom out. This summit isn't about resolving the great power rivalry. It's about managing it. Analysts at Chatham House put it bluntly. This is rivalry management, not rivalry ending. The United States and China are no longer trying to like each other. They're trying not to crash into each other in the Pacific. Strategic stability is just a fancy phrase for, we both have far too much to lose right now. And yet, when you strip the entire summit down, it might hinge on just 2 words, handled properly. Xi used those 2 words about Taiwan. If Trump signs the deals and dodges the island question, Beijing privately celebrates. If he says one wrong thing about Taipei at the closing press conference, the entire choreographed dance collapses, and we wake up to a very different headline tomorrow morning. So here's the question I want you to answer down in the comments. Did Trump just buy peace with soybeans and Boeing jets? Or did he just trade Taiwan's security for a $1 trillion trade headline? Is this a masterstroke of deal-making? Or the very first visible crack in America's Pacific commitments? Hit the comments, tell me what you really think, and tell me what you would do if you were the one inside that room. If this video brought you value, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.